Let me ask you something. If you were wearing the wrong prescription glasses, would you fix blurry vision by squinting harder? Of course not. Squinting doesn't change the prescription, it only tires you out. And yet, many capable people spend years doing exactly that with their lives. They work harder, they try another system, another goal, another plan, and they solve problems. They carry responsibility and they accomplish things other people admire. But something feels off. Not broken, not failing, just not quite in focus. The problem may not be your effort. It may be the lens you're looking through. The lens shapes how you interpret what's happening, what you believe is possible, and who you understand yourself to be. Beneath your decisions, your habits, standards, and patterns of thinking, something is operating quietly in the background. Your beliefs, your identity, and your internal standards. The standards you hold yourself to. It's a little like an operating system on a computer. You don't see it happening, but it's running everything. And most of us spend an enormous energy trying to change what appears on the screen. Our results, the feelings we have, the circumstances of our life, without examining the operating system that keeps producing them. No new strategy, goal, or productivity system can fully correct a lens that's not been examined. Now, does any part of this resonate with you? Stay with me if it does, because here's where the conversation gets very practical for you. Most accomplished people are not struggling because they lack ambition. They're not struggling because they don't know what to do. They're struggling because there's a gap between what they know and how they're actually living. You may know what you should be doing, but not do it consistently. You may have worked hard toward a goal and then wondered whether it was truly what you want. You may look at life like the life you've built and still feel quite a distance between the life and the person you sense you're becoming. And the most frustrating part is that you have probably already done a great deal of work. You've read the books, you've set the goals, you've learned the systems, and you've built the disciplines. So your natural conclusion is, I must need to do more. Work harder, push further, find that next strategy. But what if more effort is not the answer? Because effort is not what the problem requires. If the lens is slightly off, squinting harder doesn't fix the prescription. It simply makes you more tired and more likely to believe that you are the problem. You're not the problem. You may have been applying surface level solutions to a deeper challenge. More strategy on top of a misaligned operating system creates more noise and eventually exhaustion. That's not a discipline problem. It's not a motivation problem. It's an alignment problem. The lens that's helped you get here may not be the lens that will take you where you want to go. I'm Dr. Edward Wheeler. I'm the founder of Total MindPower Institute. I've lived on the other side of this. Years ago, I was a capable professional facing real challenges in my life, in my work, in my marriage, and in my sense of direction. I did what capable people often do. I worked harder. I found better strategies, and I tried to change what was happening around me. Then I asked a different question. Not what do I need to change out there, but what is the lens I'm looking through? What is showing, and is it showing me what's actually true? I realized I could not control my circumstances or change what other people did, but I could become more aware of my beliefs, my identity, and the habitual thinking that was quietly shaping my choices. That realization did not change my life in one dramatic moment, but it became meaningful because I accepted it, practiced it, and returned to it over time. I rebuilt my marriage. I rebuilt my sense of direction. And I built my life, a life I'm genuinely proud to live. Not because I found a way to control another person, because I'm more intentional about who I was being. That experience gave me, and everything I've learned helping others do the same, became the foundation of success mindset mastery. The question is simple. What lens are you looking through? The value is having a framework for answering that question and living from what you discover. Let me show you how it works. First, we awaken possibility and awareness. When people have been focused on what is not working, they can lose sight of what is still available to them. So we begin by recognizing that present circumstances do not define the future. Then we look honestly at the thinking, the beliefs, the emotional patterns, and the habitual behaviors that have been shaping results, often without full awareness. We call this the possibility principle. And it leads directly to awareness creates choice, because you cannot choose differently until you can see clearly. Awareness is not self-judgment, it's the beginning of freedom. Next, we create your directional identity. This is where awareness becomes direction. You clarify your purpose, the meaning underneath your life. You clarify your mission, how that purpose expresses itself. You identify a worthy ideal, that direction that matters to you that may be 5 to 10 to 15 years out, but still very meaningful. And your definite chief aim, that specific target you're building in this season of your life. Together, these become your identity declaration. That is more than a goal on a whiteboard. It's a decision about who you're becoming. Third, we align our internal state with that direction. Direction without alignment is like entering a destination into your GPS with a flat tire. You know where you want to go, but something keeps pulling you back. Inside Success Mindset Mastery, we work with internal conditions that make consistent execution possible. Your thinking, your emotional state, your beliefs, and your daily practices. See, state precedes strategy. Before we ask you what you will do next, we ask you who you are being as you do it. Practices such as gratitude strengthen state. Help you recognize more of what's present, meaningful, and possible for you. See, it's not forced positivity. It is a deliberate shift in awareness that strengthens the state from which you act. Fourth, we execute from identity. This is where direction becomes lived behavior. You establish standards, commitments, and repeatable practices that produce evidence in the present moment of the identity you've chosen. We call this execution stabilizes identity. Every time you follow through on a standard you've set for yourself, you're doing more than completing a task. You're confirming who you are. Finally, aligned execution begins to compound. Execution creates results, results create evidence, and evidence strengthens confidence and reinforces that identity you've chosen to live from. And as your identity stabilizes, something opens up: clearer purpose, greater contribution, and momentum that does not depend entirely on willpower. That is expansion. And it does not begin where your circumstances become perfect. It begins when your identity changes and your actions begin to express that identity. Now, does this make sense? See, if it does, let's look at what it can mean in ordinary life. Imagine waking up on a Tuesday morning and feeling something you may not have felt in a while. Clarity. Not certainty about everything, not a perfect plan, but a settled sense of direction. You know where you are going, you know who you are becoming, and the distance between those two things no longer feels like an accusation. It feels like an invitation. Imagine opening up your calendar and seeing your real priorities reflected in your days, not just other people's urgencies or tasks that feel important but do not move you forward. Your direction begins showing up in your actual life. The people I work with often describe the shift in simple language. I trust myself again. I know what matters and I'm actually doing it. I feel like myself again, but with a clearer vision. They are not describing another motivational trick. They're describing identity coming into alignment with direction. This is what it feels like when execution stops being a battle against yourself It becomes an expression of who you've decided to be. The circumstances do not have to be perfect first. You do not have to wait until everything lines up. When the prescription is right, you do not have to try harder to see. You simply see more clearly. And that clarity changes what you can choose. Now, you did not get this far by accident. The capability, the discipline, the responsibility you have carried is real. Your next chapter does not have to be built by working harder at what is already not working. You deserve a lens that fits. You deserve a direction that genuinely yours and your identity are aligned with where you're going and not only where you've been. See, at Total MindPower Institute, we believe becoming who you are capable of becoming is some of the most important work a person can do. That is why Success Mindset Mastery is not simply a collection of information. It's a membership for people who want to strengthen their state, clarify their direction, and live from a chosen identity and practice aligned execution over time. So here's my invitation. Not a pressure decision, a conversation. We call it a clarity conversation, and it's exactly what it sounds like. An opportunity for us to look at where you are, where you want to go, and what's been getting in the way. And whether Success Mindset Mastery is the right next step for you, we will find that out in the conversation. We'll look honestly at the 5-step pathway: awareness, identity, alignment, execution, and expansion. We will consider whether this framework fits what you're navigating right now. If it's a right fit, I'll tell you. If it's not, I'll tell you that too. The goal of the conversation is not to pressure you into joining. The goal is to help you see more clearly. You will leave with greater clarity whether you become a member of Success Mindset Mastery or not. If something you've heard today feels like recognition, pay attention to that. If you know the gap you have been living is not simply a discipline or a motivation problem, and you're ready to stop squinting at a life that is not quite in focus, click the link below and schedule your clarity conversation. It takes less than 2 minutes to book. We will begin looking at your situation, your desired direction, and the identity you're committed to becoming. The lens can change, and when it does, everything becomes possible.